Good evening. It's Tuesday, the 17th of January, and it's time for the news on RIK2. Nicosia was finalising its strategy ahead of tomorrow's start of the experts' conference on security and guarantees, a continuation of the Geneva process, with the participation of the Greek and Turkish Cypriot communities, the three guarantor powers, Greece, Turkey and Britain, as well as the European Union in an observer-advisor capacity. The side's technocrats are scheduled to convene for at least 3 days at the same Montpelleron hotel, where the Anastasiades Akinci talks took place in November. The Greek Cypriot team, who arrived at the Swiss resort this evening, held their last meeting with President Anastasiades this morning. Heading the delegation is the Greek Cypriot side's top negotiator Andreas Mavroyiannis, negotiating team member Toumazous Tselepis, Colonel Neophidos Bachoulidis, who is a member of Cyprus's permanent EU delegation, Professor of Constitutional Law at the University of Cyprus, Aris Kostandinidis, diplomat Pandelis Pandelidis, and 2 diplomats from Mavroyiannis' office. Government spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis said that a working document will be drawn up at the conference, recording the positions of all sides in order to establish how the discussion of security and guarantees can proceed at a political level. Christodoulidis said that a number of relevant questions have been put by the UN to interested parties and a response is expected. The questions involve issues related to internal and external security, each of the 2 communities' concerns, and the implementation of the settlement. The government spokesman stressed that the Greek side will focus its efforts on President Anastasiades' proposal on security and an idea floated by Greek Foreign Minister Nikos Gotchas on a friendship treaty between Greece, Turkey, and the Republic of Cyprus. Commenting on a statement by Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan that the Kokina enclave in the occupied territories should be connected to occupied Morphou through a Cyprus Republic-controlled area, the spokesman noted that the territorial adjustments map submitted by the Turkish Cypriot side does not correspond to Erdogan's statement. Such remarks, he added, have their due importance and do affect the atmosphere of the talks, noting, however, that everything will be decided at the negotiating table. In light of tomorrow's continuation of the Cyprus conference at experts level, President Anastasiades held a series of phone conversations with European leaders. This morning with European Council President Donald Tusk and last night European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker. They discussed the start of tomorrow's new phase of negotiations. Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras was also active in his contacts with international leaders, holding a phone conversation on the Cyprus issue with UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres and the Commission President. A statement from his office said that Alexis Tsipras underlined the Athens commitment to reaching a just and viable settlement on the basis of UN decisions and the Republic of Cyprus' capacity as an EU member state. It has to be a solution, the Greek Prime Minister added, that does away with guarantees and sees the withdrawal of Turkish troops to the benefit of all the people of Cyprus, as well as peace and security in the region. Heading the Turkish delegation at the Technocratic Conference on Security and Guarantees is Deputy Foreign Minister Ahmet Muhtar Gyun, while top negotiator Ozdil Nami heads the 5-member Turkish Cypriot delegation, which includes the Turkish Cypriot leader's spokesman Barış Burtsu. According to Turkish media, the conference will take 3 days, with the first one recording the positions of interested parties. These will then be evaluated and a decision reached on guarantees-related aspects. At a political level, Turkish sources say that the conference will reconvene either in late January or early February. The UN refuted reports that the Secretary-General is in strong disagreement with the approach and behaviour of Greek Foreign Minister Nikos Gotchas at the Geneva Conference on Cyprus, and so much so that he will not be seen with him in the same room in the near future, when the political-level Conference on Security and Guarantees reconvenes. Antonio Guterres' deputy spokesman, Ferhan Haq, said the report was inaccurate, adding that the UN Secretary-General has and will continue to work with all sides involved in Cyprus. He further referred to Guterres' remarks last week during the Geneva conference, adding that the UN continues to hope a deal will be reached. The goal, he noted, is securing a lasting and viable agreement, and the United Nations will work with good faith with all sides in that direction. Turkish police have captured the gunman who killed 39 people in an Istanbul nightclub on New Year's Day at a hideout in an outlying suburb of the city after a 2-week manhunt. Istanbul Governor Vasip Sahin named the man as Abdulkadir Masharipov and said he was born in 1983 in Uzbekistan and received training in Afghanistan. Masharipov, who was captured with 4 others overnight, had admitted his guilt, and his fingerprints matched those at the scene. He knew 4 languages and was well educated, Sahin told a news conference. There were strong indications he entered Turkey illegally through its eastern borders in January 2016, and it was clear the attack was carried out on behalf of Islamic State. The jihadist group claimed responsibility a day after the mass shooting, saying it was revenge for Turkish military involvement in Syria. Masharipov was captured with an Iraqi man and 3 women from Africa, one of them from Egypt, in the Esenyurt district on Istanbul's western outskirts, about 30 kilometers from the Reyna nightclub. 2 pistols, mobile phone SIM cards, and $197,000 in cash were also seized. The gunman appeared to have repeatedly changed addresses before and after the attack. Remaining in Istanbul, he evaded a 16-day nationwide manhunt. British Prime Minister Theresa May said that not reaching a deal with the European Union would be better than concluding a bad exit deal for Britain, and warned leaders of the 27 other members not to try to punish Britons for voting to leave. May has said she would start 2 years of talks on leaving the bloc by the end of March, and today she outlined her plans for the upcoming negotiations. "I must be clear," she noted, "that Britain wants to remain a good friend and neighbour to Europe. Some voices," she said, "are calling for a punitive deal that punishes Britain and discourages other countries from taking the same path. That would be an act of calamitous self-harm for the other countries of Europe, and it would not be the act of a friend." She underlined Britain would not accept such an approach. On the substance of the deal, Theresa May said her country could not remain a full member of the EU customs union, but will seek tariff-free trade with the bloc after Brexit. May said full membership prevented Britain making its own trade deals, but she said she wanted a customs deal with the EU to ensure cross-border trade with Europe was as frictionless as possible. The British Prime Minister said she wanted Britain free to establish its own tariff schedules at the World Trade Organization, meaning it can reach new agreements with old friends and new allies from outside Europe too. Now a look at the weather. Clear skies tomorrow. Winds will be light to moderate northwesterly to northeasterly, force 3 to 4 over slight seas. Temperatures will rise to 17 Celsius inland and in eastern coastal regions, 19 in the rest of the coastal areas and 10 over the mountains. The depth of snow on Mount Olympus is 90 centimetres with 80 in Troodos Square. That's all from us here. Join us tomorrow for more news in English. Have a very good evening.